kind of weird. Okay, so I guess I got to turn it sideways. Um, I started talking about growing pains and the things that I had to learn. Um, and I had to, things that I had to give up in order to attain something new. Energy is, God gives us energy to do and implement His will on the earth. Um, so what we use, how we use our energy dictates how our life is shaped. Okay. So I do want to say that in the message before, if you haven't listened to the message before, please listen to the message before. Um, I have to be very, very careful what I put on YouTube because a lot of people complain about us stuff, and I don't want to have my page deactivated again and to start another page because it is very, very tough, especially when you have a lot of people following you and you're getting the messages out clear so people can use it. Use this the words as food, because that's what it is. Energy is fuel, and how you use it dictates how it's gonna go. So this second one that I'm talking about, growing pains, is how I had to let go. Well, God literally like took these people out, and I thought it was a curse. I thought it was a curse in my life, but I found out that having these people in my life was a curse. Okay. And you're like, well, why do you say this? Some of these people I knew all my life. Some of these people I consider very close friends. Some of these people I considered as mentors, instructors, um, just a lot of people were successful. But I found out that they didn't have success in their minds when they spoke to me or when they came in contact with me, period. Basically, as one would put it, they thought of me as less than, like that I didn't have any potential. Either they thought I didn't have any potential, or that my potential was not worth their time. So I had to, or that they just didn't know potential when they saw it. Um, with my family and friends. Um, and not all of them were bad or anything. They just weren't right for me at this moment. Um, when I went through what I went through with my ex, I was just really, really sad. And I was like, during that whole time, I was really sad, but nobody was talking to me. When I tried to call people, they wouldn't answer their phones. I mean, people that I usually would call when times come, like in this moment, they would not answer. I don't know if they was getting tired of me or what. I don't know what was happening, but like I said, they weren't calling me. When I would go, even to when I got healthier, to check up on them, they would not call me, and I would be like, "What's going on?" Or I would try to get some kind of information, try to get myself better. What should I do? Um, if I'm going through this, they would not. I would not be able to call them. So I literally, it made me focus on God and just get myself closer, and work on myself. Like, I mean, work on myself, fitness wise, health wise, all of that. Um, and the good thing about that is that as I started to work on myself, my glow started coming back. And there were some people who was trying to return into my life. And I did let some of them come back in, but I noticed that majority that came back in, I noticed that my life had shifted. And sometimes God tries to get you at a higher playing field. And in order to do that, it has to trigger out so much energy. Think about people who gossip a lot, or who talk about people who keep up a lot of drama. Yes, that is a lot of energy wasted, a lot of stuff, but think about them reading a book. It takes concentrated energy to do something productive, you know. Um and when you see people wasting energy so vilely and so viciously, um it drains you. It would drain you. I literally started seeing people, like, why I was feeling like I would let these people come back into my life, and I would feel so tired around them when I used to feel so energized when I was around them. It was just God changing me and shifting me to move into the next dimension and the next plane. And especially since I had been knocked down so low, you don't understand the gradual change when you don't see them for periods of time and you come back and they're still welcoming. You don't, and you go in and out. But you do notice it if it's been a good minute for like, and it was like about what I want to say 6 months to a year. I hadn't seen my family until my grandmother had passed from the time I left my ex. So, um, yeah, it was just time for me like to heal. Some of my friends that I thought were my friends, um, they wouldn't answer their phones or they were busy. Um, or after a while, when they started seeing that I was doing kind of good, more people started coming back, like I said. But I started noticing, like I said, I was feeling so drained because they were on this whole level. Not to say that they're doing less than me or anything like that. I just felt like my spirit, I felt like in my spirit I was feeling drained. I was feeling drained. And the only thing that I was getting fed of, my spirit man did not feel like I was getting filled. So I was okay to be away from them in a way and understand the distance was necessary. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if you are listening to this, this happens. This does not happen on a coincidence. This was designed for you to hear or to pass along. Not saying that just because it's coming out of my mouth, but anything you come across, God didn't place it on there for accident. Nothing happens in this life by accident, and I understand that now. Um, some of your friends are not going to understand that process of growing pains because some of them, a lot of them, um, have actually went through the process before you have. And I had to witness this. I didn't understand it. One of my closest friends, he went through this process way before I did, and he is very sensitive to the spirit. What I did not know is that the reason why I was able to come back is that once he healed, we were on the same playing field. Um, like going towards in the same way, being productive. This time it took more distance because I was getting elevated a little bit higher than he was. Doesn't say he's less than a friend or anything, but it gave me some distance. Now, there were some people that I thought were my friends that God showed me that really wasn't. There were some people who just wanted to be around me because of the ride, because of the titles, or because of the longevity that we had as friends before. Let me tell you something about friendship, okay? Friendship is a dual dynamic. It is a give and take relationship. Any relationship you have is a give and take. Um so if it becomes anyway, it becomes one-sided and it hasn't been balanced at all, then it is toxic for you, okay? And I'm not saying somebody who's not making, your friends are making, everybody's making six figures and the other person is flipping burgers and you can't be friends because of that. No, that's foolish. That's dumb. What I'm saying is that the investment that you put in, the pride and the dedication and the time that you put in, um, should pan out to the other person on each side. Um, the person that might have not or went to college and is flipping burgers now, might be the person that people come to listen to, and they can give you different venues on how to deal with situations or something like that. I'm saying that no relationship should be one-sided, okay? And that's just how it is, or unproductive. They're not moving into something greater, you know? Um so yes. Um the next one was what did I talk about? I talked about friends, toxicity of that. Family, okay? Family is almost the same dynamic, okay? You can't choose who your family is, okay? Family is a little bit tougher because, they're still going to be your family no matter what. But I had to understand as an adult, okay? Because some people, especially in the African American communities, I'm going to say African American, in the black community, okay? Whether you're Hispanic, whether you Dominican, whether you Haitian, whether you're Canadian, whether you from the UK, black people in particular, and this happens in different colors too, because I've seen it with my friends who are Caucasian, and their family do the same thing, but there is more of a passive aggressive kind of gross. But in the black community, it's like whatever the patriarch or the matriarch says goes, even when you are an adult. Um, which it should go that way until you become an adult. Okay, we are not going to be children forever. We have our own households. Your parents were children before. Okay, when they became an adult, they ended up doing adult things. So your mother or your father or whoever your guardian is should let you have that time to be an adult, and let you to conduct yourself as an adult and not treat you like a child. That's like a freaking 13-year-old getting his getting a steak, and he is getting his steak cut like in little bitty pieces and pureed, and then the mother or the father is feeding the 13-year-old son with some pureed steak. No, that's just, if you look at that dynamic and you look at that situation like that, then you see that it is toxic. And most of us don't look at it when our family members say you should do this, or your mother tells you you should do this, when you have your own mind and you say, well, I kind of figure, just like you picking out a dress. I like the purple dress. Well, you look better in pink. You should wear pink. We're gonna get pink for you. And you say, well, no, I can buy my own stuff for myself. I'm gonna buy the purple one. And they say, oh, well, purple doesn't flatter you. What's the name? Jim doesn't like purple. Or, go and just get the pink one. Your sister likes it too. You should get it. I don't care. As an adult, it shouldn't even matter what anyone else says. If you're saying what you don't like and that's your truth, you need to stand in it. And people who don't respect that, you need to get away from them. I don't give a care if it's your mama, daddy, sister, cousin, uncle. If they bring any kind of toxicity to you or any kind of mess, family drama, okay? Everyone's family has drama, okay? Now, you might not interpret it. You might the outlook or the outcome of it might not look the same. Everyone doesn't tussle and fight and throw hands or do all that. But they got some uh dynamics in it, because anytime you come into a group, you got different personalities, different tactics that people use, different categories of groups. You're gonna have that. The difficulty is when someone infringes on someone else's right, or their voice or their opinion before, um and put their opinion and their viewpoint above others, um when you know what's best for you. And you're the, not only you know what's best for you, you are the only one that's responsible for you. You have to remember that, because when everything falls down and when all the chips fall down and everything, the first thing they're not gonna say that they had you listen to them if things go wrong. They're gonna say it was you and you needed to stand up and woman up and do this. But they're not gonna take responsibility saying that they gave you that idea, they told you to do it. So you need to be aware of those people. And most people who put input in other people's ear, or put things that they think that they should, is usually because they're trying to live their life through you, um or they never seen it through someone else. So that's or they were taught that way. We are creatures of habit. We learn that way. So sometimes God will let you get away from these people who've never seen anything or doing the same thing, so you can get to a whole different dimension or a whole different paradigm to operate in a different way. When God told me that I was going to be helping people with the shelter and all that, I had people who was already in, I was surrounded by people who were already in the social work field already. But you know why the dynamic didn't work? Because they didn't have the same viewpoint. They didn't have that same outlook on me as I did on them. They thought that I was less than, and because I went through it, that I wasn't even entitled to go through it. That's just like David in the field. His dad thought that he was not even worthy, even though he was in there in the field taking care, and he's going to be king. They're not thinking about the principles and the policies that he's going and he's operating out of, operating out of a few, being humble and submissive to the few things. And let God, take care of the rest. They're looking at who they figure is going to be the best, who they want to be the best, who they want to be king. And that's how you have to look at it with family and friends. Sometimes it's not even that deep. Sometimes they're just used to being the same way. So when you change, it shifts the dynamic, and they don't know how to operate out of it because they haven't been shifted with it. Now, I had like one person who was able to shift in the dynamic and see me from when I was a kid, or when I used to do this a couple of years ago, to see the difference in me now, and that was great. But realize that's not always the case, and you are not entitled. During this growing process, during my growing pains, I understand that in order for me to get better, my lesson was to not worry about other people's decisions or viewpoints on how they treat me or how they view me, because their viewpoint does not matter. What I think about myself is the one that matter. What he says, as long as I have that connection, to know who I am, that's all that matters. And if you want to go into the next dimension, or you want to go into the next playing level field, you have to get away from people who think that you cannot. What I always say on my videos is that when people tell you no, don't think of it as you cannot do it. What they're saying is that you cannot do this with me. I can only take you this far. Okay? This is what no means, okay? Or no at a later date. Sometimes God will tell you no. Something is not for you. It's not like saying no that it can never happen. I had that with something that I really, really wanted. And it looked on the outside, that outside looked like it was perfect. But God told me, no, that is not it. It is not it. Okay? So understand that when people say that, don't get bottled up when people say no to you. If I would have listened to the first no, or to the freaking 500th no to what people told me that I cannot do, I would never be in the situation that I am in. Okay. And like I said, these growing pains, they are not a curse, they're a blessing. Think about when a baby is born. It takes a hard process of pushing and guarding up strength and muscle and energy. It takes a lot to formulate a baby, the development of it first, and to bring it forth into the world. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of pushing, a lot of focusing, a lot of precision to get this source of life out of another source of life. Okay, because that's what growing pains is. You're going from one dimension to the next. The baby was already formed, came in the mom's stomach, became another form, fleshly form, and is coming out to be its own form, to leave from its mom's nesting place, which is the womb, coming out. So that's the same thing with you growing. And every day, every moment, every second, every year, every decade, every time you come out is a new time for you to be getting into a higher dimension, working towards the next dimension. So sometimes with the people that are around you, that are closest to you, which is usually family and friends, depending on your dynamic, your personal family friends dynamic, because some people came from foster homes and they have more friends that are closer, and I had a lot of friends that were closer than my family too. So I can definitely relate. But you're gonna see that shift. You're gonna definitely see that shift. And you might see it career wise too, because when I changed jobs, some of the focus, my focal point had shifted, because I saw that this job was no longer fulfilling what I needed to do to enhance myself through the kingdom. So it was a whole different shift from life, life purpose. So you'll see that, you'll see that dynamic from that. So yeah, I'm gonna get off here because it's 20 minutes. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Definitely please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem, and thank you.